Blog Talk Radio.
Hi, this is the Independent Corner with Jonathan Moody, and I'm here with Leigh Scott.
Hello.
The director of such classic hits as Beast of Bray Road and King of the Lost World, among Dracula's Curse. And how many movies do you have right out now?
I've got out probably 12, I think, total. I'm about to direct number 13 in a couple of weeks.
And you've only been doing this for, well, I know you started back in the day with...
I actually used to work for Roger Corman, and after I got out of college, I started doing my first independent film, which was like 94, 95. I took a brief hiatus, did a bunch of different other kinds of jobs, and then I hooked up with the Asylum about 2 years ago. And so that's where the bulk of my films have come from in the last year and a half, 2 years from the Asylum.
Okay, cool. Here's, I believe this is Chris is on the line. Let me get him on here. Chris, are you there?
Yes, I am here.
Oh, hey, what's going on, man?
I am a blog talk whore today.
Yeah, he just started his own blog talk show, too, as well. He had Trent Haga on his show.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so...
Congratulations on your show there, buddy.
Yeah.
Oh, what's that?
So congratulations on your new show. It's very cool.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So, Leigh, going back to, your work with the Asylum, I mean, how do you guys do so many movies, like, back-to-back?
Well, a lot of us who are like the diehards, we don't sleep a lot. That's like one way to do it. Second of all, it's a very well-oiled machine. We kind of know what we have to do, and every month we just figure out how to do it. So it's a very small staff. I think people would really be surprised at the few people that actually work there. I think they'd be surprised, too, at the actual budgets that we work with, considering what we manage to pull off sometimes. But it's really just a lot of hard work and a small group of very dedicated people that do it.
Yeah, I saw the trailer to The Hitchhiker.
Yeah.
That was yours, too?
Yeah, that's my last one I just finished.
Okay, yeah, I was like looking at that, and I'm sorry, that one scene with the shotgun blow or whatever, or I don't know if it was a shotgun exactly, but the part where the guy runs in and then gets shot.
Yeah,
that was awesome. that looked great.
Yeah, there's sometimes with the effects, it's like sometimes they just are amazing, and you watch the monitor and you're like, that looks so real. And other times they take 6 hours to set up and it still looks fake. So it just really depends on like kind of the mojo of the day and the guy you're working with. The effects guys are probably the most difficult to find in terms of guys who are reliable and really know what they're doing. So, if you get a good one, you try to hold on to them as long as you can.
So your first film, well, I guess you said you worked with Roger Corman. Did you actually produce things, or did you?
No, I worked all as a crew guy for them. I pretty much learned everything that I know, in terms of basic production. And I was an AD, and I was a PA, and I worked in the office, like the marketing department and stuff like that. The first film I did was independent. I financed it myself right out of college. It's called Beach House. It never got U.S. distribution. It was all over the place in Europe and stuff like that. And like I said, I took a while off and did other things before I came back to movie making a few years ago.
Oh, neat. So, and you did Art House after Beach House?
Yeah, that was a couple of years later. I sporadically did stuff, but I got married in the meantime, and I bought a bar in Westwood, right by UCLA. It was fun at first, and I got old real fast. Then I moved to Colorado for a while. I lived there. I worked various jobs out there before I came back to LA in December of 2004, I think it was.
And now here you are staying.
Exactly. No intention of leaving anytime soon.
So was that the bar that you used in Beast of Bray Road?
No, that wasn't. It's actually the bar in Art House. If you ever see Art House, that's the bar we used. Beast of Bray Road bar is this really cool place that's up in Chatsworth, California. A very, very cool location. We actually used it again in Dracula's Curse. It's a very cool little place.
Oh. Yeah, you've been talking about Dracula's Curse on like the IMDb boards and stuff like that, and saying that this is pretty much your favorite, I guess.
Yeah.
The ones you've done.
So.
Why would you say this has been your favorite, or?
It's a cool movie because we use kind of the same actors over and over again. When I took over there and started making a lot of films for them, I've always been a big fan of like the old Hammer horror films, where it was pretty much like a repertory, company. They had Christopher Lee, they had Peter Cushing, all those great actors, and they would kind of just rotate them for different parts. So rather than trying to, find out new actors every time, I decided to kind of use the same group of people over and over again. And Dracula's Curse was the film that pretty much starred everybody that I'd ever worked with up until that point, like all the actors and, and every one of the movies before that is in that one. And that was also the first film that we did at the Asylum that wasn't like a straight-up horror film, pretty much. I mean, outside of the kind of studio tie-ins like King of the Lost World, every other film we were doing was like a horror movie. And that movie is more of an action film, more of a fantasy movie than it is like a straight-up horror movie. So that was cool, too, that we got the chance to do that. And then actually from that movie, we managed to see that other, kind of genres work. And they started branching off into doing more, fantasy. I just did a fantasy film a few months ago for them, more action movies, more suspense thrillers as opposed to just horror films, which I think is cool. I think it's a good step for the company in general to do that.
Now, you get a lot of flack, and I hate this because I really love your company, and I actually, when I saw King of the Lost World, I actually like that much better than King Kong.
Right.
Like the new King Kong that's like 4 hours long.
Right.
I'm like, a King Kong movie has to be 85 minutes or something, And then also has nudity, So much better than Peter Jackson can't even do this anymore,
Right. Well, sometimes we manage to, I think Exorcism, the Possession of Gail Bauer's film I did, I think that's actually, in my opinion, objectively, I think it's a better movie and more entertaining than Emily Rose was, which is what.
Oh, hands down. Yeah, absolutely.
And I think When a Killer Calls, which we did, is also just as good as the one that was out in theaters, the When a Stranger Calls. I think ours actually is a little better. It's a little more fan-friendly. There's more gore in it. There's some great nudity in it. And it's like sometimes we strike out and we do a copy that's nowhere near what the original one is.
Well, okay, you also, didn't you also do the Hillside Cannibals?
Yeah, that's one I'd say probably isn't as good. But
isn't as good? But, well, see, what I'm going to say is, I didn't really like the Hills Have Eyes remake, but that was also, I'm not a really big fan of the director.
Right.
So, that might be a thing. I just was kind of bored by it.
Right.
I'm wondering if I'm going to like your version better than the remake.
Well, our version actually is really different. I didn't see the new one. I remember the old one, and the writer of the film, that's one of the few that I didn't write myself, and the writer, I guess, had seen the original one as well, and the script wasn't shootable, and the director that they had quit at the last second, so I kind of jumped on it, and we ended up actually improvising a lot of the movie on set, so it's very different, actually, from The Hills Have Eyes. It's just, it's a similar title, and it's about cannibals, but... Well,
see, isn't that what they were trying to go for, I guess, because if you look at The Hills Have Eyes and then the Hillside, cannibals, they're right next to each other.
Yeah, that's always the plan. People give us shit for it, but it's a smart business model because we're basically using all the studio marketing to kind of get people aware about our product as well.
Right.
It's like if people are already excited about something, and you see it all the time in other industries.
I think Roger Corman used to do it.
Oh yeah, when I worked at Corman, when I worked in the marketing department, we would retitle movies so they would sit on the shelf next to popular releases for the same reason. Whatever it takes to get people to rent it is what you have to do because, while the money is decent on these films, it's not great anymore, and the video chains are getting worse and worse with the money they share and, stuff like that. So whatever you can do to keep making movies, you kind of have to do.
And then that's why you guys keep pumping out more movies and more movies to try to keep, getting out there, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's also the way the Asylum set up their business, it's a very, it's a cash flow thing, so it's like, the money for the movie we're doing now is the money that came in from, 2 movies ago, basically. So it's like they started with a small amount of money and have managed to keep that money going, to keep making more and more movies.
So does Asylum self-distribute, or do they go through an outside distributor?
No, they're their own labels. They actually sometimes will pick up other people's movies as well.
Okay.
So they're not involved with a Lionsgate or something like that. It's all their own. We do everything. We do the DVD authoring in-house, the artwork, except for the duplication and everything else we do right there in the office.
Yeah, I've been talking to him briefly. Actually, you're the one that kind of pointed me in the direction of the person I talked to about my new film, Desolation.
Mm-hmm.
But I haven't spoke to him in probably about a month, but yeah, they were interested for a while, so that was really
Yeah, those guys have very short attention spans, so you got to keep hitting them up. And after a while, it's like people who it's like you got to ride that line between being obnoxious and like being like just persistent. Because if you manage to do it, like they won't, they forget about stuff, but you're always kind of in their face. You're always kind of in the background. Like they'll eventually get to it.
The big question I had was, is David Michael Latt? Is he like one of the main guys for it or something? Or
yeah, the two partners are David Latt and David Romali.
Okay, yeah, David Latt was the one that actually contacted me back.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I was wondering about that because, I mean, I guess he gives himself chances to direct, because he did. Actually, it's so funny. I watched some of Jane White is Sick and Twisted.
Yeah.
Which I watched mainly just to see all the cameos from the TV stars that I used to love,
Sure.
And I'm sure that was the whole plan was, it's kind of a gimmick to get people to. And I thought that was a really cool gimmick. I mean, I've been trying to get people like that on my show.
Yeah.
I've been trying to use that as kind of a gimmick. Oh, I'm trying to get Pauly Shore on my show, kind of thing like that.
Exactly. Yeah, no, Latt and I did that film together outside of the Asylum. I produced it for him. It wasn't actually done through the Asylum. It was kind of before. It was right when they were first starting up the company. So he did that movie all on his own with his wife, and I helped him out, and we got all the actors, and it was a really good time. It was a good shoot, and it was he loves it. Like it's still his favorite movie I think he's done, and he's just obsessed with it, which is great because it's always cool when a filmmaker gets to do something they've always wanted to do, especially a guy like Latt, who the films he has directed a lot of times have been very genre-based. And if you know Latt, like you would know that he's a total like screwball romantic comedy guy. Like he's a hilarious guy. Like the fact that he has to direct movies where people get their heads chopped off.
So wait, he's the producer. Shouldn't he be the one making up the? This is what I want us to do. This is where we want to go.
Well, in so much as we can. I mean, you have to realize too that so much of it comes from we actively talk to the people who buy the movies, and we'll ask them what they want to sell. That's probably why the Asylum's been so successful is that they're fast, they make the films very inexpensively, and they listen to what the buyers want. So when everyone else is kind of saying, oh, I really want to do this Western, I have this great idea for a Western, and they make it and they try to sell it, people might not be interested in Westerns. But we know in advance, we know that they want X, Y, and Z. So we make X, Y, and Z to make sure we can still sell them.
Do you have people snooping to see what's hot, being made?
Oh yeah, we actively do that, and like I said, we listen to the guys at Blockbuster and Hollywood Video and Movie Gallery because they're still our biggest money source right now, and they'll say, hey, you should make a movie that copies this, or can you give us more movies like this? Like they're actually the ones that kind of, in addition to a couple of us being sick of it, they're the ones who said, hey, you should try stuff other than horror films because there are, so many big companies right now like Lionsgate and First Look are buying these really low budget, really bad horror movies, and the video chains are obligated to distribute them. So they have too many horror movies on the shelves, and they
need to do something else.
Exactly.
Oh, that's a really neat idea to think about. I mean, I think when you win the Dragon, I guess, is one of your latest movies too.
Yeah, that's like I said. That's one of the after Dracula's Curse. We saw that fantasy did really well, and we knew Aragon was coming out. So people will be talking about dragons, and people are still hyped on Lord of the Rings. So we went ahead and did that, and it's doing incredibly well. I mean, it's one of our best. We got the reports today. It's one of the best performers of the year for last year and starting this year. So, it's really just kind of figure out what the consumers and what the buyers want, and then kind of going off of that and trying to still make yourself creatively happy. If they said make monkey porn, I probably would have to pass. But as long as it's hey, let's make science fiction now instead of horror, like I'm still cool with that because those are the kind of movies I love.
So you're trying to stay away from horror as far as you're concerned, or are you still going to do it?
I'll still do it. I think this year coming up, I've got 4 films lined up. 3 of them are like science fiction, and 1 of them is a horror movie. So I'm actually, every year the Halloween release is always like a big place for a horror movie, and they've kind of given that to me to figure out what's like the end-all, be-all of horror movies. So that'll be my task.
The big question I've wanted to ask, because I see you guys pump out these movies, and, I just found out about you guys just recently, but then I found out you have like 6 or 7 of your own movies already out that I haven't gotten a chance to watch yet. And the big question, I guess, is, like how long does it take to actually to shoot the movie and then get it edited and then distributed?
Well, the average, I mean, it seems to be getting quicker and quicker the more movies we do. In the old days, like when I did Frankenstein Reborn and Priest of Bray Road, we had probably 2 months of prep and shooting time. We usually shoot the films in about 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, depending on the budget. And we usually had, 6 to 7 weeks before that to prepare them. Lately, it's been getting really fast. So I think The Exorcist movie is the fastest one, where we basically had 3 months from the point that they said, we want this movie to write it, shoot it, edit it, and then get it ready for distribution. So I think it was like 75 days or something like that we had total to do everything, like sound mix and editing and color correction and the whole deal.
Wow.
Yeah, wow.
That's incredible. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, Dragon had a lot of visual effects, but that one was pretty fast, too. I mean, we shot that film in late August in Wisconsin, and it was already on the video stores, mid-December. So it's, about 4 months.
So is Asylum, because I am a writer, and I've heard that they're looking for scripts. I guess they're always looking for new scripts or something, right?
Yeah, that's for sure. And they're also looking for people, I mean, if you can write a script in a week and you can follow directions, that's like their dream, because they've got only a few guys that are just plain writers who will write the projects. I try to write and direct my own, but they have other directors that come in or other projects they want just writers for, and it's really hard to find people who are willing to come in, for relatively little to no money and write that fast and also follow directions. That's the big thing. It's like if they want, a certain type of film, it doesn't matter how good you are. If you don't give them what they want, it doesn't really fit. So they can't.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I wrote one of my movies my first movie I ever wrote that was like 80 pages long, and I know you guys are pretty specific. You want something at least 100 pages, pretty much, right?
Yeah, about.
But when I wrote my 80-page movie, I wrote in 2 days.
There you go. So you're ready to go.
Yeah, I mean, which is funny because it's not I look back at it and I'll probably go, this wasn't great, but then I was like, you know what? I wrote it in freaking 2 days, and what could I do if I wrote it in 4?
Right, exactly.
So it's, it's just, I guess if you have the time to actually sit down and just do it,
Yeah, and the good thing about it, too, is that since it is so fast, it's like, you change stuff on set, and then you get the input from the actors and the rest of the crew, and it's like, the films are very, amorphous. They adapt and change depending on the circumstances. We've had more times than I can count where we've had, a whole sequence or a whole big plot point that's like, supposed to be in a certain location, and then we come to shoot the movie and when that location falls through. So like on set or the day before, you got to figure out how you're going to get this scene done without having the location that's supposed to be. That happens all the time. So the scripts are more like blueprints than they are like actual. It's not like Shakespeare where we follow it to the letter kind of thing. It's like when you get out into battle, you got to kind of adjust it a little bit.
Exactly, and you can kind of tell like what could be scripted and what could be like, I guess like improv or something on the set.
Sure, exactly.
And I mean, like when I was watching Jolly Roger, which I know is not yours particularly, it's I guess Jeff Miller's or.
Yeah, Jeff Miller wrote it, and Gary Jones directed it.
Yeah, so it was, when I was watching that, it was making me laugh. There was a few really good lines in the movie that, that really just made me crack up, Like
that actually was really funny when they first brought it in, and it was a bit of a problem because the buyers hated comedy. The guy at Blockbuster like comedies, like he hated that whole kind of Evil Dead style horror comedy thing. So
and he would hate my movie Cruise of the Dead that I wrote. That was 80 pages long. Because there's nothing but comedy, really. Hardly any action. Hardly any like gore or anything. It's just stupid, silly.
Yeah, that's always a tough sell. If it's a horror film, they want to keep it as straightforward horror film as they possibly can.
And so Jolly Roger was hard to sell, or?
Yeah, it ended up. I mean, having a lot of it, and I think the version that's on Sci-Fi Channel actually is closer than the DVD version to what the original script was. But the original script, I mean, the whole idea that they had was to make like their own kind of leprechaun character. Like, they wanted a character that could be like a franchise. They wanted to do like a ton of Jolly Roger movies. So his whole thing was that he would kill you with like a funny joke every time.
Oh, okay, like a Freddy Krueger.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So is there any plans for another one, or?
I don't think so.
Oh, that got
really did well enough for the Asylum where they would want to jump back in and do another one.
Oh.
But I did run into Jeff Miller a little while ago, and he's still a big fan of the whole idea. He's trying to get another one made. So.
Well, he should. I mean, like from what he did, he directed. Was it Head Cheerleader, Dead Cheerleader, which hasn't come out, has it?
I don't think so.
Because I saw there was a copy of it at on Amazon.com, but I wasn't sure if that was that it. Cause
I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's out yet or not.
But he went and did that. He should write and direct another one.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the thing with these movies is like they're usually small enough where if people lose a little bit of money, it doesn't kill them, you know. And it's great practice. I mean, the best thing about the Asylum for me has been that I've been able to kind of practice and do different things and experiment, you know, and not just make short films or music videos, but actually make whole movies and just try different things and kind of develop a style and, you know, find my way around stuff. And sometimes it works and you get a cool one, and sometimes it's kind of like, you know, whoops, what the hell was I doing? But at least it's not on a huge, you know, studio movie that this is happening, and it's not on a film where it's going to wreck my career. You know what I mean? It's like, it's just great practice.
You know, so I guess I don't know if I explained this to you exactly, but I had a really crappy day Saturday, and this is when this whole stuff happened. I was looking at Sci-Fi Channel. I was like, Sci-Fi Channel cheers me up all the time. Just, you know, anything that they have on it will always cheer me up. There's got to be something like right after Beast of Bray Road, they had Frankenfish.
Right.
I mean, it's gonna make me laugh. It's gonna make me really want to watch it. So I was watching Beast of Bray Road, and I was like, oh my gosh, there's Matt Kaczynski in the movie, and I was like, I know him. He used to. I met him at Vulgarthon, Kevin Smith's film festival.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and we started talking online. I haven't talked to him online, and like other than through MySpace and stuff, you know, for a while. So he was, you know, he was really cool. He's gonna try to come on the show sometime and talk.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah. So I mean, and he was in both, from what I've understood, Frankenstein Reborn and Beast of Bray Road, right?
Yeah, he's in both films. Matt, actually, when I had my bar, he was one of my bartenders. He used to work for me, and so he always talked about being an actor. I know he's a really funny guy. So when it came time to do it, I was like, "Hey, you want to jump in and do a movie?" And he was like, "Yeah, sure, let's do it." So he had a smaller part in Frankenstein and a pretty big part in Beast of Bray Road.
Have you heard his animation thing, The Angry Naked Pat?
Oh yeah, I saw it on. I've seen it online. I actually helped him cut a reel together once, and we put a lot of stuff on there. So it's really fun.
Cool, yeah. He's you know, so yeah, that's like, because I'm friends with Brian Lynch and I'm friends with those guys and whatnot. So, you know, I met Matt through there, and when I don't think I even knew he was in your movie until all of a sudden I see him. I'm like, oh, is that Matt? And I was like, he did a fantastic job too. So.
Yeah, no, he's a great actor, and he's got great comic timing, and it's just a shame we never got to. It's one of those things we never got to shoot his big death sequence. That's why it kind of happens off screen. They're talking about it, but that was supposed to be a big whole scene where the werewolf catches him and eats him and stuff. So.
Oh, well,
that stuff happens.
So speaking of Beast of Bray Road, when the werewolf rips the chick's head in half, how did you shoot that? I mean, how was that effect done?
It actually was the worst. It was actually, believe it or not, in Jolly Roger, there's a scene where a girl gets cut in half with the Jolly Roger sword right in the beginning. So we still had that dummy. So Dan, the makeup guy, just took that severed in half dummy, put a different wig on it, filled it up with guts, and then we just shot a bunch of. I mean, the trick to shooting all the really good gore effects is to always do one take with the real actor and then one take with the prop. If you cut to a different angle when you go to the gag, it always looks fake. But if you can at least establish in the audience's mind that shot exists with the real person, when you cut back to it, it's exactly the same shot with the effect. It kind of tricks them. So all we did was shoot, the werewolf pulling at the girl in that angle, and then we put the dummy in there and just shot it ripping apart. But it was the cheesiest, dumbest, grossest dummy ever.
Yeah,
I watched that part 3 times in a row. That caught me so off guard. I mean, that was really good. I mean,
yeah, it was a great effect. It's one of the better ones. Like I said, I think the one in The Hitchhiker that is in the trailer is one of the best. That one's good, and in Frankenstein Reborn, there's a great gag where a girl gets pulled in half, and that gag, so people go, "Oh shit, how'd you do that?" So,
yeah, I actually own all those movies you're talking about.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great because I mean I really I just got into the asylum and now I don't want to leave. I want to just keep watching all the movies. And I just can't wait for another one to come out because you just like even War of the Worlds looks really good. I know David Michael did that, but it looks really incredible, you know?
Yeah, I mean, we really, have managed to find really solid technical people to help us out. So even though our budgets might be close to some of the crappier stuff that's out there, we still manage to maintain some level of, like, professionalism, which I think is really cool. And, I always get a little mad because people will walk around and, kind of compare our films to films that cost more, and it's like, well, I get frustrated because they're not that expensive, but yet it's kind of a compliment when they think that it wasn't expensive,
I mean, because when you look at it, I don't know, you guys definitely look like you shoot on film.
It mixes. It varies. It depends on the budget. A lot of them have been HD. But again, we're using, really good film cinematographers who know how to do this, So it's like you're not getting the same effect as like a first time, DP on HD. It's like you're getting a film cinematographer who knows what he's doing. So
okay. Because King of the Lost World, like that opening sequence with the opening credits?
Yeah.
That looked incredible. That was what really drew me in from the very beginning. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, this looks great already, just the music and the flying and then the crashing of the airplane.
Yeah.
It was just, everything looked great, and I was just like so interested in, watching more and more. And then my brother actually walked into the room when I was watching the spider.
Yeah.
The big giant spider that comes down. He just stopped and stared. And then walked away, but I could tell it just kind of it drew him in. So I mean,
that movie, my problem with it was not really making it. I just felt that we kind of rushed the script together, and it just felt a little bit like it could have been a little more action packed. There's a lot of people talking and walking around, and I was hoping to do some more action stuff, but it really wasn't in the material to do that. So, but overall, it's a decent movie, and it's definitely one of the better looking ones. I think probably the best cinematography, and the one movie you'll watch it and go, this cost like, $10 million or more, is the pirate movie we did, because the cinematography in that is just brilliant.
That's with Lance Henriksen, right?
Great. What's that?
The Pirates of Treasure Island.
With Lance Henriksen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How was it to work with Lance?
Lance is cool. Lance is totally my buddy. He had done a movie for them before called The Da Vinci Treasure. And I went and talked to him on set, because I didn't direct that one, about playing Long John Silver in the pirate movie. And he just loved it. He loved the idea and was like all excited about it. So he was, down for the count 100%. He actually ended up working a day for free, which was crazy.
Do you end up using SAG actors, or like how do you deal with that?
It varies. Most of our productions, the smaller ones, are not SAG. The other ones are. So it depends if we're using a bigger actor or not.
Oh, like someone like Lance, I'm sure is SAG.
Yeah, Lance is SAG, and Bruce Boxleitner and Steve Rail's Back, and those kind of films. Those are SAG. And the contract we use allows us to use union and non-union actors. So you'll see the same, Asylum regular actors in films with like Lance or Bruce, but then also in our, non-union shows as well.
But when you do a SAG movie, don't you have to pay them kind of close to like a SAG rate for even non-SAG actors?
No, under the new contracts, you pay the non-SAG actors much less than the regular SAG rates, and then you pay, a guy like Lance doesn't work for scale anyway, so it doesn't really matter. So you end up paying those guys more, than you pay the other actors. I think it's like $100 a day, which is pretty close to what they get anyway. So.
Well, I mean, that's not bad though. I mean, I would say if you shoot for like, what, you say you shoot for basically, how many days do you normally shoot?
The shortest one was 9 days. The longest has been 15.
Oh.
We're actually getting ready to shoot one. I'm doing a sci-fi movie that's going to be 20 days.
20 days?
Cool. Yeah. A lot, so.
Well, I'm guessing it's going to have a lot of CGI and other technical stuff that you have to...
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. A lot of green screen and a lot of, big plate shots and stuff like that, so.
So it must be really exciting knowing that you're going to have like 4 or 5 or whatever, like 10 movies or something coming out in one,
Yeah, no, it's great. I mean, the first year I was there, the way it worked out, I ended up, basically being responsible for, I think, 6 or 8 movies that year. I think between being a producer and a director, which is pretty crazy. So it's cool. It's I wake up every day and go to work and say I'm a movie director, which a lot of people can't do, which is cool. So.
How was your Christmas and New Year's though? Did you?
It was good. It was good.
You didn't have to work then, did you?
I did actually. I just were in post on the Hitchhiker movie, so I worked a little bit, a couple days off, and got pretty hammered on New Year's Eve, but pretty low key overall.
Well, that was the most important part, right? New Year's Eve.
Exactly. As long as you can get really drunk on New Year's Eve, it's a successful holiday season.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, I'm really looking forward to all the flicks that you have coming out too. But are there any that you can kind of talk about or not, or is pretty much?
That are coming out? Well, like I said, The Hitchhiker comes out in March, and then I'm doing a film that's called Robot Wars, which will be out in July, which is going to be badass. So
is that like, because it wasn't there a movie called Robot Wars? Is it?
There was. You know, that's just the working title for now. Like, I'm not sure what it's going to be called when it comes out, but we're calling it Robot Wars for now.
I was going to say, it better not be anything like the Full Moon movies.
Yeah.
You know,
No.
Because actually, I see you guys doing. I mean, you guys are so much better right now. Because I mean, if you look at a movie like Evil Bong, and then you look at a movie like with your guys kind of thing, it's so much different. You guys seem to take more care of your movies and don't try to rush things if you can't help it.
We actually give a shit. And like I said, not only is it the same actors, but I have the same first AD, I have the same cinematographer, we have the same grips, the same sound guys. So it's like everyone's a big happy family, and it's not like that kind of crappy low budget, indie movie crew where nobody cares. So if something can be made better, people are going to go out of their way to do it and make it better.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I've been really interested, because I'm eventually going to probably be moving out to California, like I'm in Virginia right now, so kind of far away. But, but when I eventually go out there, I'd like to find a company like yours or something, that I can just go and start working as whatever, Yeah.
There aren't many left. Most of the low-budget guys have, gotten bought out. A lot of people now are doing, like you said, they're just distributing their films through other people. So the Asylum is unique in the sense that they're still a small company that does everything themselves, which is great because, I got to look at the key art for the video box for The Hitchhiker before it goes out, and I got to give suggestions and give notes, and, it's a great way to learn everything. It's like I think anybody who comes out of the Asylum is fully prepared to work on bigger things and be much better prepared than anybody else,
Have you guys already did the commentary and stuff for it, or?
Not for Hitchhiker yet. That'll be only a week or two.
Oh, okay. But then you're going to definitely have a commentary and behind the scenes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's what I like about your stuff too, as well, is because it seems like all the Asylum movies have some kind of commentary or something.
Right.
That's an extra, and you guys have so much fun when you guys do the commentary.
Oh yeah, we're all loaded the whole time.
Yeah.
Trashed.
Because when I was listening to the Beast of Bray Road commentary, was that you or somebody just kept saying Frankenstein Reborn?
Right. That was the cinematographer, Steve Parker.
Oh, okay.
That was him.
that was pretty funny. I mean, I just, almost you could play a drinking game with that.
Absolutely. That's my next plan is to get like the Asylum, drinking games going and special editions out there, because a lot of these films too, we've had to recut them for different reasons. So, Beast of Bray Road and Frankenstein, and I'm trying to think what other ones. Pirates. There's very different versions that exist of those things. So they're kind of, re-edited to kind of tailor what the buyers and the people want to see that, are buying the movies. So even if we get a great idea and then the buyers go, I hate that scene where the guy does this, they cut it out. But those scenes still exist, and a lot of them are really great.
So you're going to try to do special editions?
Yeah, we're actually talking about launching like another website, like a second website, like a fan kind of based website that'll have like downloads and stuff like that. So some of these deleted scenes and stuff we'll put up there. And, the movie coming out in January, Freak Show, the ending was so gnarly that Blockbuster, even though it was unrated, they wouldn't carry it with that ending. So we had to recut the ending, and we're thinking about putting the ending like online for a little while for people to download once the movie comes out and see the difference. So it was just too much for them to even handle on an unrated film. So
was it the gore, or was it the subject matter, or both?
It was just the gore. I mean, I don't want to give it away, but it's pretty gnarly. Like, I watched the first cut, and I was like, I make these movies, I have a strong stomach, and I was just, wow. Cause it wasn't just the gore, but it's, like, protracted, and it's, like, drawn out. It's like an 8-minute, like, torture, death, mutilation sequence that you just see everything. There's like nothing left of the imagination. It just goes on and on and on. You're like, A, how is this person still alive? And B, how much longer before I puke? Basically, when you watch it.
Well, I can possibly, see why Blockbuster might have.
Yeah, I can understand. They
threw up a red flag.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, the thing with Blockbuster, aren't they they're family-themed place, so it's always funny to see all these horror movies, but they're always like an R-rated version instead of like an unrated.
Yeah, they're into making money. I mean, Hollywood Video always carried the unrated versions, and Blockbuster just started, I think, I'm trying to think what the first movie we did that was unrated. It might have been Dracula's Curse was the first one last year that came out unrated. Usually we'd go to the MPAA and we'd have to get the R rating. If we get the NC-17, we'd have to make more cuts. But now the ones that are coming out, like Hillside Cannibals, like Exorcism, those films are all NC-17s, across the board.
Oh, that's
okay,
cool.
because I was wondering, because me and my producer partner, we always talk about how a lot of these independent movies you find in, like, say Blockbuster, and you take them home, say like Frankenstein Reborn, which, had a, good amount of violence in it and everything. And I was talking to my partner, and I was telling him, I was like, there's no way that was, allowed in Blockbuster like that with an R rating. I've always wondered if, you guys did the Wes Craven Last House on the Left thing and just tack an R on there and give it to him.
I won't lie to you. Occasionally the paperwork for the rating goes in after the movie. We're pretty sure it's an R. In a couple cases we've been kind of burned where, we'd send it off and then we'd get it back and be like, whoops, it's an NC-17, and then it's kind of up to us to be honest or not. Frankenstein actually was a legitimate R. I'm trying to think if I can remember. There's one movie out there that I know that we had submitted the paperwork for, delivered it to Blockbuster, and then like a month later we got the paperwork that said it was actually an NC-17. So
it wasn't Beast of Bray Road, because that was pretty.
No.
It's pretty graphic too.
That head scene alone. I mean,
now the thing is, to get the NC-17, it's really weird. First of all, they're more concerned about sex, so you have to watch, like, you can't have more than 3 thrusts in the same direction, in the same angle, or else you get the NC-17. Even if there's no nudity. If it's like just like 2 fully clothed people going at it and they're thrusting, you can't show a thrust more than 3 times from any one angle.
Even fully clothed?
Yeah, it doesn't involve nudity or anything. They're also really sensitive about, like, children, getting killed, children getting sexually attacked. And then when it comes to, like, weapons, like knives and stuff like that, you can't have more than 3 direct shots of a penetration. So if you have a close-up of a guy getting stabbed like 50 times, you have to cut away in between. You can't show more than 3 at a time.
Yeah,
wow.
You're right. Because as you say that, I can see, a bunch of scenes in my head, and yeah, they do cut away at the 3rd mark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's why the Exorcism movie was close, because that had like a nude sex scene in it, and it also had, the girl was described as being underage in the film, even though the actress was 21. But they, in the film she's supposed to be 17. And then there's a scene where one of the priests gets stabbed like 100 times, and in the first cut I just had like this, actor hacking away at a dummy. You saw like 20 stabs in a row, and they were like, yeah, you got to cut something else real quick there. Or, switch the angle of the sex scene. We can't have that. So.
Oh, I mean,
It's
isn't
funny.
it?
I try to imagine, the MPAA guys sitting down in a meeting going, okay, what we can allow them to show is at least 3 pelvic thrusts, but anything more is porn.
Right, exactly. No, it's weird. It's weird. And no one knows who those people are, and, they're totally arbitrary. It's very strange.
Yeah, I mean, gosh, you could just imagine them being lonely old men who...
Yeah.
Actually, lonely old men would probably want to see more thrusts, so maybe, I don't know who it is.
They would
old
love
women.
that.
I don't know. It's just really funny to see these people that, I mean, who would be these guys that are turning your movie down and saying it's got to be unrated, or whatever.
It's an odd little operation they've got going over there at the NPAA. It's very strange.
It cracks me up because I couldn't imagine someone sitting there watching a movie and going, oh, that was 4 pelvic thrusts. I'm turning this crap off.
Exactly. It's weird.
Well, actually, you'd probably have to watch the whole thing, even if he didn't like the, but he'll write notes for pelvic thrusts. Move on.
Exactly.
So yeah, but like movies, it's so funny because about the MPA, like Clerks, when it first got released, it was like the one movie where and had like way too much cursing or something.
Yeah.
And they said that it was NC-17 until they got Alan Dershowitz to fight for him, and then it all got turned around. So I'm thinking, and then they didn't even have to cut a single thing,
Yeah, it's very arbitrary. I mean, it's totally arbitrary. There's no rhyme or reason to it.
Yeah. So your next movie, I know one of the next Asylum movies is the giant crocodile movie. Super Croc, I believe.
Yeah, they just finished shooting that like about a week ago. They actually shot that right before the end of the holidays. That one comes out in April.
Oh, I thought it was coming out in March. I thought I read that somewhere, but
no, that's the Hitchhiker's March. Super Croc is April. May is a movie called Meteor, which is like an end of the world disaster movie.
What's coming out in February?
February is a movie called Lumberjack.
Lumberjack?
It's about a killer lumberjack, yeah.
Oh, sweet.
It's so awesome. Like, I don't know, I can just see you guys, like, I can see the people working at Asylum and just going, what can we do next? You know? A lumberjack movie. Let's do it.
That's exactly the meeting we had today. It was like, what are we going to do next? And, what do you guys want to see? And they're always open to different stuff. Like, the David Romali, the one producer today, was like, bring me a $3 million movie. We'll find the money. We'll do it. If we get something good, let's do it. They're very open to stuff. So,
well, I've got the perfect next movie.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. I mean. And do you guys recommend people sending you guys scripts or like?
Yeah. I mean, definitely. Even if we wouldn't necessarily take the script you send us as a writing sample, it's pretty key. Because when they go to look to hire somebody, they want to make sure that they've read something that they've done.
So do you wait? So it gives you the email address on the site, but do you guys want anybody to actually send like the actual script, or do you want just like you said a writing sample, like a treatment or something?
I mean, your best bet is to contact them first, introduce yourself, and then from there, either turn over a script or a treatment depending on what you have.
That makes sense.
It's bad to just send something cold, but if it's a way to do it, it's to. It
seems like Asylum would be the company that somebody like an aspiring, writer who wants to get into like this genre, would want to do.
It's a great place to start. And like I said, there's very few guys we deal with that are capable of writing these scripts that quickly. So, it kind of goes to 2 or 3 other guys besides myself, for the ones that I don't direct that end up writing them.
Is it the notes really? Like, because you said something about they'll send, you have to be able to do what they tell you to do. Like, will they give you like these extensive notes and say change this, and if you can't for some reason, then they'll just,
Well, yeah, it's more the fact that we kind of agree in advance on what the structure is going to be and what the story is, what the outline is, and then a lot of writers will decide, midway through, oh, well, this is a better idea. Or what if we did this instead? And it's like a lot of times it's not what they want, So getting somebody who can take that outline that's agreed upon and turn that into a 100-page script in a week, that's what we need. And sometimes you can bring up good ideas or make changes, but it's really just following the simple instructions. And you'd be surprised. It's really hard. People will get the job and then they'll screw it up because they'll have all these crazy ideas, and it's not exactly what the producers wanted for X, Y, or Z reason.
So I have we shot an 8-minute reel for our upcoming movie, Desolation, right?
Uh-huh.
And we flew Trent Haga out here, and he's in it and everything. And I was wanting to get that to them. So what would I do to get them to see that? I mean,
well, send it to me at the office. The address is on the website, and I'll make sure they get it.
Cool.
Yeah. See, there we go. That's what I love about this, this site. I can bring people together. One way or another.
Absolutely.
I'll send you a hard copy and also send you the link because we got it on MySpace too. So.
Oh, cool.
So you can actually view it there, and if you feel.
And YouTube, it's all over the place.
Yeah.
They're trying to get people to see it, and that's why I've been having Chris on my show a lot. Is to kind of talk about getting people interested in Desolation because there'd be new people checking out the thing and maybe potential investors.
Sure.
And
absolutely.
whatnot.
Okay.
So.
And Jonathan's the man. So anytime he needs me, I'll call in. So.
There you go, guys.
Exactly.
Well, very cool.
Well, is there anything, any advice that you would give to people, like, just starting out?
I would say just keep doing it, It's like just keep going. It's like I said, everything's a learning experience. I made my first film. I thought I was so cool and so badass when I was like 22, and now I look back at it and go, what the hell was I doing? There's always room to learn. So I think a lot of people don't realize that, and they kind of get full of themselves really early on. So that's why the biggest thing is just keep going, and you don't know anything. And I mean, even the biggest guys out there are still learning and practicing.
Yeah, I made that mistake. I was telling Jonathan on another show that he had me on about my first movie, The Deadening. We're like, okay, this is our movie. We're gonna shoot on film. So we got all this money together to shoot on film, and it was a nightmare, and the movie still isn't even out yet.
There you go.
See, it happens, and I mean, I've stopped, and I've started working on projects and then stopped it, due to various reasons, and it's just, like you said, it's a learning experience, and it's great to be able to direct your own stuff because then you can find out what kind of director you are. I found out I'm kind of an impatient asshole sometimes. It's not on purpose. It's obviously time and trying to get stuff done in a hurry.
Sometimes you have to be that. Sometimes you have to be that.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well,
but also I think you have to just a lot of times a little bit of love and niceness goes a long way, especially in the low budget world. It's like you want to make sure that people are behind you. I think a lot of those other films, they hire either really arrogant young directors or these kind of like washed up older directors who just don't give a shit, and it's like that's where you get that kind of like no one gives a damn attitude about, and you can see it in the movie. When you watch the films, you can tell the ones that were people were having a good time when they weren't.
Well, that's what I've noticed about watching the behind the scenes and stuff of your guys' movies is you guys just play around and have fun, and it looks like like even like observing your MySpace, everybody that you have that like comments you or whatever is usually like your actresses and other people and actors and whatnot saying, hey, what's up? How you doing? Or are we hanging out this weekend?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right, and it seems real, too. It doesn't seem like it's one of those, just crappy little 30-second long interview where people are just, blowing smoke up everybody's asses. It's like a legitimate compliment when they're complimenting each other is what it's.
Yeah, no, it's a little family, It's like every Tuesday we meet at a bar here in L.A., and, sometimes there's 30 people, and they're all, mostly the crew, and most of the actors are just hanging out, drinking beer and eating tacos,
That's awesome.
That's great. And, and doing it in L.A. is probably the best thing in the world. I mean, you're finding new people who that's what they want to do is go out to L.A. and become, in a way, most people want to become kind of famous. So, but most importantly, they want to be in movies,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the thing. It's like, the people that are out here, it's like everybody has the same goal. So it's like, it's very easy for us to, kind of take our group of little friends and try to help everybody out. I mean, that's the other big part of it. It's, if one or two of my actors, a lot of them are doing bigger stuff now. Rhett Giles has done a ton of movies. He's on Lost a couple weeks ago, and he's been on Nip Tuck. And
did I hear he was in a kickboxer movie?
Yes, he's in a kickboxing movie that was shot in China. It hasn't come out here in the U.S. yet.
Who directed that movie? Do you know?
I don't know. It's a Chinese. They fired the director midway through. It was a total Chinese production. Like Rhett's Australian, so he was like the only like Western. There was maybe one other Western actor in it. The rest were all native Chinese actors.
Wow. Because I was wondering about that. Because was it an actual new kickboxer movie, or was it?
I'm not too sure. I know he played like the villain. He was like the evil Western, kickboxing spy kind of guy. So.
Oh, okay. Well, it's good to see, people like Rhett, and I'm sure he kind of like, he's made more movies with you guys than anything he's done yet.
Yeah,
so.
The cool thing about Rhett is that, he loves it. Like, he's doing bigger stuff and getting paid more money, but I kind of gave him the outline for this robot movie, and he got all excited about it and started, like, emailing me ideas, and, he gets jazzed. We have a good time, and it's like, we also try to give the actors a chance to do everything. It's like, if you look at some of them, like Eliza Swenson, who has been in a bunch of films, like she's pretty much played almost every kind of role. In Dragon, she's like a 400-year-old witch. It's like, who gets to do that,
Yeah.
Usually if you're a pretty girl, you get to be a victim. It's like all the girls in Dracula's Curse, too. It's like, Rebecca Cochin and Sarah Hall. It's like these girls get to usually be the girl screaming or the girlfriend or the first person to get a hatchet in the head. And in that movie, they're gun-toting, vampire killers, which is very rare for people at this level. So everybody has a good time.
And I like how in Hillside Cannibals, like the lead, the girl that kind of makes it all the way through the movie, in Beast of Bray Road, she doesn't make it all the way through the movie. She's one of the
Right.
first ones, That kind of caught me off guard because the first one I saw was Hillside Cannibals of
Right.
your films. And,
well,
that's
kind of a rule, too, is when new people kind of come in, like Beast of Bray Road was Heather's first movie, so it was like, when you do your first one, it's like you got to take your licks and be a victim, or, you know what I mean? It's like you're going to be a smaller part, and if you stick around and you're cool, then you're going to get a bigger part, down the line.
Yeah, that blew me away because when I saw her, because I saw Beast of Bray Road after, and
Right.
I saw her, I was like, oh, okay, there's the lead, and you kind of setting her up as the lead too,
Right.
and then boom, she's gone. I loved that.
She was the first one to get killed in Beast of Bray Road.
Yes.
So yeah, she did an incredible job. She was like, even in the making of, you guys looked like you guys were having fun with it, Like I think there was a couple outtakes and stuff too, And it
Absolutely.
It just seemed like you guys had fun shooting, and that's what I noticed when I was watching Sci-Fi. I turned it on, I was like, these guys look like they're having so much fun, and they're casting. It seems like they're casting their buddies,
Yeah, that's pretty much what we do. We show up to work every day with our friends.
Talented buddies too.
Yeah, talented buddies.
Yeah, you're not running into that problem where you're casting your buddies and it's hurting you in the long run.
Well, did you audition originally, people, or?
Yeah, I mean, most of the people, Jeff Denton and I were friends long before. Jeff and Matt and I actually all worked at the bar together. So I've known Jeff for a long time. He was the sheriff in Beast of Bray Road, and he was, Malone in King of the Lost World.
He's powerful.
Red had done a couple of silent films before I got there. He was in Way of the Vampire and Legion of the Dead before I started there. So Rhett was the only guy really that I brought in from the other older movies. And then Tom Downey, who was the sheriff in Jolly Roger, he and I were friends going way back. And then most of the girls, I'm trying to think of any girls that we knew beforehand. I think all the girls came in originally through auditions. And then, we just picked one out. Rebecca Cochin, actually, she crashed the audition for the Gail Bowers movie. We didn't even have her on the list. She just showed up. She got the part in that, and then immediately after that, she got the lead in When a Killer Calls. So.
Sweet. I haven't seen that yet, but that looked good, and I really, really, really want to see Snakes on a Train.
Seen it. I enjoyed that.
I mean,
which one?
The Snakes on a Train.
Oh, Snakes on a Train, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what was funny was that was actually the first, I guess, asylum movie I'd ever heard of, but didn't know what asylum, what the asylum was, right?
Right.
And then all of a sudden people are like, Snakes on a Train? What? Are they really, did they really, and they didn't, you guys did this. I guess you guys have found out that there's going to be a movie called Snakes on a Plane,
Right.
And then you guys decided to do Snakes on a Train to kind of capitalize on it.
Exactly.
And you guys did, that was a good marketing ploy right there.
It's a good double feature is what it is.
Hopefully New Line will buy Snakes on a Train and they'll put a double DVD out at some point.
That would be awesome. Snakes on Snakes on a Plane and Snakes on a Train double feature.
Exactly.
And, if I've decided that if I ever get enough money, I'm gonna I'm gonna have my own drive-in. I'm gonna play nothing but only movies I want to see. There'll be Snakes on a Train in the drive-in.
Yeah, I've had that idea too.
Yeah.
I miss the drive-ins. There's no more out in L.A. And the ones back, I'm from Wisconsin originally. I was back for Christmas, we actually shot the movie Dragon in Wisconsin back in my hometown. And
there's actually another caller. Hold on. I think it might be Kevin. Hold on a second. Oh, 850, you're on. Hello?
Hey, no, my name's not Kevin. I'm Anthony, and I was just listening to the show, and actually I was emailing Jonathan Moody's Sick Flick Productions. Who's that?
Cool, thanks, dude. What's up? Are you a fan of Leigh's?
No, I mean, I was just a fan of who?
Leigh Scott.
No, I'm just a blog talk junkie, and I was just listening to your show, and just the bottom line, I got a lot of projects myself in the works, and I'm really ignorant when it comes down to the film industry. So, I mean, it's just the bottom line. Just listening into you all for, just for information, and that's about it. And I just wanted to call in and say thank you all, because the show is great and it has one. You all are obviously in the industry, and you have great insight, and you provide wonderful insight just through listening.
Oh, thanks, dude.
Yeah, appreciate that.
Yeah, it's really nice to hear people that I don't really actually know, but that seem to really dig my show. So thank you. I love hearing good words.
No problem.
Lee's the one who's actually in the industry. We're just kind of talking to him and trying to get more advice, just like you.
We're fighting our way into it.
Who is Lee?
He's
the one that I'm listening
to.
He's the guy that you're having the conversation with?
Yes. He's the one who did, he's done lots of movies that are in Blockbuster. I was mentioning a lot of them earlier.
Yeah, well, sorry, I told you. I did preface this whole statement with I'm ignorant to the movie industry and the movies and all that stuff. I don't watch a lot of them, or a lot of TV and stuff like that. But I am kind of getting into it by accident. So that's why I'm kind of doing my homework. It's like a crash course.
Right. And we're kind of trying to do that too. So.
Cool.
But thank you for calling in and telling us this stuff. And
all right.
We appreciate it, and just keep listening. I mean, we'll have more people coming on the show. So,
Thank you, Lee. And I'll now if I need to look up Lee, how do I Google him?
Leigh Scott. I guess would Leigh Scott or Leigh Slaughter be the easiest way?
Yeah, Leigh. Lee.
Leigh?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Scott? And Scott, SCO, I guess, TT.
Yep.
Okay. No problem.
So just look him up and, look up all his movies because he's got a ton of them in Blockbuster. So.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.
Well, Lee, if you ever need representation, I think you got it right here, me and Jonathan, man. We just sold you to somebody right there.
You're building the fan base.
Oh yeah, definitely. And see, we're not kidding when we say we're fans because we obviously have seen the stuff and we enjoy it, enough.
No, it's great. I mean, it's great to it's weird because we make these movies and we kind of just send them out there, and then your family and your friends see them and you get the reports back of how they're renting. But it's great to talk to people actually who've seen the movies and can talk about them and know all the actors and all that kind of stuff. It's awesome.
Exactly. I mean, like I said, I'm just getting into this really. So, I don't know as much stuff. I think, I guess Chris knows more than I do right now because he's seen more of the films. I really want to see Dracula's Curse, and definitely Frankenstein Reborn, as well as just pretty much everything. So, I've got to go. My friend's got a Blockbuster card, and he's going to put me on there. So. I'll just go rent Blockbuster.
A funny story to tell before the show ends is on MySpace I got a friend request from Dracula's Curse, and I was like, oh man, I've seen that movie. I was like, must be a fan of the movie. So I wrote him and was like, yeah, I dug the movie, and I was like, are you a fan? Did you work on the movie? And he's like, no, I directed it. I was like, oh man, even better.
Those were my attempts at just shameless promotion.
I say, well, he must have heard of Desolation or something. I was like, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, the funny thing is I've never gotten one. Huh.
That all might change. You never know.
That might change. All of a sudden I'll get Dracula's Curse will be emailing me or whatever, sending an ad request, which I think it's cool because if you looked at mine, I've got the movie I'm doing in July. I've got that poster up there, and I've got a whole site for that, So that's what's great about MySpace,
Yeah, no, it's an awesome tool. It's an awesome little thing.
Yeah,
I love it. I'm on there all the time.
Yeah, I've noticed. I see all your blogs.
Yeah. Well, when I'm rendering out like a shot or something, I gotta wait for the computer. I just sit there and just log in and start typing.
Well, you write you don't just write you write journals. I mean, these things are really. I mean, I almost think that you're writing them and then you're just waiting. You're actually trying to come up with something really, really good, and then maybe you'll edit it or something later, but you won't actually send it out until it's perfect. That's what it seems like. But you might just write it in a couple seconds. I don't know.
It depends on the blog, and maybe I'll collect them all and put a book out or something at some point. I'd
definitely buy that.
Cool, man. Thanks.
But No, because I mean, when I was looking at your blogs about certain people like saying stuff about it, I'm really surprised at the amount of people, that say all these negative stuff, but then yet you'll take the time to actually, talk to them about it, or and you'll say these like witty replies back,
Yeah, I'm a little shocked too at the amount of people that are really like against what the Asylum does in terms of like the studio ripoff thing. It's like, what do you care? It's like if you don't like it, then don't watch them. It's like it's not
exactly. I was going to tell you that tonight. Just don't even write to these people, because then it just makes people want to, it incurs their wrath more to want to respond back, and it almost like seems like a waste of time to see all these things.
Well, that was another cool thing about you, Leigh, is that like even I think it was just last week, Dread Central. I think it was Dread Central. I might be wrong, but they were almost acting like they were wanting to start ripping apart The Hitchhiker. And you stood up for it and everything, and kind of set them straight on that. And I've noticed, because they have been all over Asylum from the beginning. I mean, like when A Killer Calls came out, I remember that huge article they wrote on that, just bashing it before they'd even seen it. And,
yeah, actually, I defended a lot of that stuff to those guys, and I've actually, the war has kind of subsided, and I'm actually on their boards now, and I talk to them, and they've actually tried to be very cool. There's a couple of guys that were, still being kind of dickheads about stuff, but even those guys have kind of come around and been like, oh, we're just kidding around, man, and, we just want you guys to do better stuff. We want you guys to be, doing better movies, that's all, that kind of attitude, which is fine. I appreciate that. And these guys, a lot of these guys dedicate their lives and all their money to horror movies, and so they're the main consumers. So, in a weird way, it's like you don't want to kiss their ass, but you at least want to try to make them happy a little bit, because they're your audience. They're the people ultimately who will pay the checks and pay the bills, to keep going. So everybody's important.
Exactly, and they're the people going and buying even the people that are going out and buying the blockbuster stuff. I mean, like I had bought King of the Lost World, having only seen like half of Beast of Bray Road.
Right.
I mean, I was like, well, I can buy it at Blockbuster, for whatever, like used and new, or whatever that they have. And I was like, you know what, I'm gonna pick this up because it looked, the cover was good, the cover art was good. And it just, it had King Kong in it. Like, you got me sold.
Can't go wrong.
So then I enjoyed the movie when I watched it. So
that's what I have to admit. That's one I haven't seen.
Oh, you got to see that, Chris. I mean, just go. I guess your local Blockbuster will have it. So it's definitely worth watching once.
It'll probably be on Sci-Fi again soon.
What?
It'll probably be on Sci-Fi again. They've been airing the hell out of that one.
Oh, neat. Yeah, I guess because they're trying to compete with, like, HBO having King Kong or whatever.
Exactly.
So they're trying to, And I didn't realize this. It almost seems like a kind of a pun, because you know how people say, I'm the king of the world?
Right.
I'm the king of the lost world? I can see just, like, a Titanic spoof right there. So I thought that was kind of funny. I noticed that actually right before the show started. I was like, that's kind of funny, Like, I don't know if you guys intended that or...
No, not really.
Happy coincidence.
We based it off the Arthur Conan Doyle, The Lost World book. Character names are the same, and, it's kind of the same idea about a group of people in a land that time forgot kind of idea. So we just kind of merged King Kong with Lost World, and that's what we came up with.
So did you have to pay any money to use the Lost World or anything, or...?
No, it's all public domain. So.
Oh, is it public domain? Okay.
Yeah.
I think it was Sir Conan Doyle is public domain by now. He should be.
Yeah. His heirs still try to protect Sherlock Holmes, but otherwise they really don't have any.
Really? I was going to say the next movie you should do is Sherlock versus Zombies.
I definitely, I do have a Sherlock Holmes film that's in the works.
Oh, cool.
Excellent. Yeah.
That would be neat. I would like to see that. I was thinking of it earlier. It's like Sherlock versus Zombies. That seems like or something. Sherlock doing something.
Sherlock versus Frankenstein Reborn, or Sherlock versus Dracula's Curse, or Beast of Bray Road.
That would be awesome. But I guess what I thought was, the Beast of Bray Road is based on the true story, right?
Yeah, it's based on there's an urban legend like where I came from back in Milwaukee about it.
Is that how because that was one of your first movies, right, that you worked on? So.
Yeah, I'd written that script actually a long time ago before I wrote Frankenstein Reborn, and after I did Frankenstein, they loved it so much. They're like, well, what else do you have? What do you have in your little computer there? So I popped that one out, and they liked it, and we just shot it like right afterwards. It was probably about
and that's why you used pretty much the same crew, right?
Yeah.
Right. It looked like you almost probably did it back to back.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's really cool.
Maybe a month apart.
From Wisconsin are you from?
I'm from Milwaukee.
Oh, okay. Yeah, my wife, my father-in-law lives out in Wisconsin.
Oh, cool. Whereabouts?
And my wife is from Minnesota. I don't know if you frequent there any.
When I used to work in restaurants, I trained actually in outside of Minneapolis.
Oh, really? Yeah, she's from Albert Lee.
Oh, okay.
What part of Wisconsin is your I guess your in-laws from?
Hold on. Where's your dad from? Yeah.
See, that's the great thing about doing this show too.
Lake
Is
Mills.
you're doing it at home, so you can take care of all your business. Chris, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here. Lake Mills, Wisconsin.
I'm not sure where that is. Probably like upper central Wisconsin.
Yeah, that's what she just said. Yeah, she is actually going out there soon, so.
Oh, cool.
Visit.
It's a great place. I love it.
Yes.
If I could make all my movies back there, I would.
But Hollywood's where it's at, right?
Exactly.
But isn't it harder to make a movie in Hollywood? That's what I heard. Like, it's harder.
We've been doing a lot of location shooting because it's getting difficult to film here, but it's still not impossible. So you're still better off here just because all the resources are here. You've got the crews, you've got the equipment.
And then you can shoot it anywhere, though, right? Like if you wanted to leave LA, you could go somewhere.
Yeah, that's what I was getting ready to ask. Yeah. Yeah,
we shot Dragon in Milwaukee, which is the furthest we went so far. We actually shot part of the 9/11 Commission Report in Europe. There was just a few of us that went over there to Europe and Africa to shoot some scenes from that.
Wait. So you shot a movie about 9/11 in Europe?
Yeah, we shot some scenes in London, and then we shot the rest of it in Morocco.
So you didn't actually shoot it in New York? Or did you shoot?
No, we went on the way. We shot in New York, D.C., and then we went to London, and then we took trains all the way down through Spain.
I was going to say, if it was all shot in, like, Europe and all that would be so awesome.
We doubled London for New York. No. We actually shot New York and D.C. themselves.
So it wasn't the two towers this time. It was the, what is it? It was the Big Ben?
Yeah, exactly.
No, that's just, it seemed like a cool idea. Like, because isn't that your first, like, kind of drama?
Yeah, that was, like, our first, like, serious kind of movie.
Is that one out yet?
Yeah, that came out in September. So that one,
did it?
That one did really well. Yeah. That one did great as well. And it's like there's no blood, no violence, no, mayhem. It's just a very straightforward. It kind of feels like an episode of like a long-running TV show. It's like a long episode like The West Wing or something like that.
I was almost thinking, well, I guess not a homicide or anything like that, or one of those, like, because it looked like, wasn't it supposed to be a thriller or something?
Yeah, it's a bit of a thriller.
Okay, but there's no blood?
No, I mean, you don't really see anything. They whack some Afghanistan guys. That's about it. But it's pretty bloodless.
Oh, wow. Well, I mean, that sounds like it'd be a lot of fun to shoot something different than...
Yeah, no, it was great. We did the whole movie, like, handheld, and we improvised a lot of the scenes, and so it was very different from the usual Asylum thing.
That's
so
cool.
Did you use a lot of the Asylum regulars, like as far as the actors go and everything?
Yeah. It was all the usuals. Rhett Giles, Jeff Denton, Eliza, Noelle Thurman. Pretty much all of them were in that one, too.
That's cool. I mean, it seems like I'm saying that. I would love to, I mean, that's such a, you guys are such a family. So hearing all about what you guys are up to, I mean, knowing kind of how you guys are and, like, you guys being such, like, a close-knit family, it's awesome.
Yeah, no, it's exactly what it is. I mean, it's a family. It's like, and it's great because a lot of people are from here, so a lot of people don't have, their families close by. So it's like we're their family away from their family kind of thing,
Yeah, I still think that's cool what you said, that y'all meet up at a bar and, drink and eat tacos and stuff. I mean, who doesn't? No one does that. I mean, that's awesome.
And, yeah, no, like, production company is known for just going out together and hanging out every day.
Yeah, no.
So
it's very rare.
Yeah.
If you guys are ever in L.A., let us know. We'll hook you up with the Taco Tuesday invite.
Okay.
Neat, yeah. Well, I might be coming down sometime to visit because I've got friends and whatnot there. So, actually, one of my friends is a comedian slash actor. I don't know. He's in San Diego right now, and I think he's moving to LA sometime to kind of get started. You know.
Right.
Which is cool. You know. I'm excited for him, but I don't know.
And if you think Desolation might be up to par, then maybe I'll be out there soon.
Yeah, no, seriously, get it over to me. I'll check out the stuff on MySpace, but give me a hard copy on like a DVD, and I'll make sure the big guys see it.
Cool.
For sure.
Well,
all right, dudes.
Well, this has been, more than an hour, so, it was a great talking to you, dude.
Yeah, you guys. Good luck with everything, and anytime you want me back on, I'd love to do it. It's fun.
Definitely. And if you want to tell more people about it or whatever, like let some of your actors and producers and other people know about it, whatnot, let them get in touch with me. I'd love to have other people on here from Asylum.
Sure, absolutely. I'll pass the word around.
Yeah, so, all right, well, have a good one, and, I'll let you know how the show does.
Cool, man.
Yep. Okay, man, have a good one.
Take care.
All right, y'all take care.
Bye.